Hey, this is Chris. How you doing? Got a little project today. I've got some vibration coming out of the rear end of my car, and so I'm going to check the tires. Both of them are kind of old and kind of used up. I'm trying to make them last till the next inspection. They've got enough tread, but it's just barely enough. I do have two brand new tires on the front though, so I'm really not worried about traction in wet weather. I just take it easy. But anyway, if you have an unknown vibration in your car, the first thing you want to do is check and see where the vibration's coming from, and there's a real easy way to tell whether it's from the front or the back of the car. If you feel the vibration mostly in the steering wheel, that is in your hands, then it's in the front end. But if you feel it mostly in the seat of your pants coming up through the seat, then it's the rear end. And that little tip, a mechanic told me, well, it's been a long time ago now, 20, 30 years, but that's always come in handy. Now, figuring out if it's coming from the right-hand side or the left-hand side is another matter altogether. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack the car up and I'm going to rotate these tires and see if I can feel any bubbles or any deformities in the tread. And also I'll be able to spin these around, and so I'll be able to see if it's out of round in any way, shape, or form, and whichever tire fails that test is the one I'm going to replace with my spare. So, first thing we need to do is get it jacked up. So you notice, well, you can't see it, but I've got a couple, I've got a couple boards here. I've got a gravel, well, it's crusher run, but it's all the fine stuff has been washed out, so now it's more or less a gravel driveway. So that makes it very difficult to use a jack, so you need a piece of wood of some sort to get under there. That's because when that arm here, when this arm raises, it does not raise straight up. Here, maybe I can show you that. It doesn't raise straight up. It actually raises up in an arc. See how this part is moving, as it goes up, it's moving towards the back of the jack. And so what happens is, as you're jacking it up, the wheels will dig into the gravel, and the car will want to pull toward you, and we don't want to pull the car in any way, shape, or form. We want the car to just go straight up. So if you put some wood under there, excuse me, then the jack will move and the car will stay stationary. So let me get that jack under there and let's get this jacked up. As you can see, or maybe you really can't see, I need a longer arm on my extension. I need to get something with a grippy handle on it. But anyway, the tire is now off the ground. And so what I'm going to do, and it's just barely up off the ground, I didn't lift it very much. I'm going to spin this tire. First I'm going to look at it and see if I see anything really abnormal, like a big bulge or something like that, and I don't see anything like that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin the tire. And I think I see a pretty good spot there where it's one spot is a lot flatter. Yeah, this tire is well out of round. Isn't that amazing? This car's got 300,000 miles on it. Can you see me? It's got 300,000 miles on it. These are the original wheel bearings. It's a little bit warm out here today. It must be in the 60s. I'm going to need to put on a short sleeve shirt. Let me see if I can. You can line it up against a fixed point. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, when you're looking in there, find a fixed point like a bolt or something that you can keep your eye on, and then rotate that tire. And that takes your eye off of, like, there's dirt on the tires, part of the tire is wet, whatever. And that'll help you line up the very edge of the tire with some stationary point, and then you can see, yeah, this one's got a flat spot on it. Well, probably what it's got is there's like a broken belt in it or something. So that's why I'm going to change out this tire. So let me get into the trunk. Now what you want to do when you change a tire, you don't want to have it jacked up while you're changing it. So I'm going to let the jack back down just until the tire is, just so there's like, maybe 100 pounds on it or so. It's just, you can let it all the way down if you want to. It doesn't matter. But that way it's so much easier to get the bolts off, the lug nuts off. So hold on a second, let me get the stuff out of the trunk. Okay, we're now ready to take the tire off. So the first thing you want to do, now this car does have a standard jack, a screw jack, like a scissor jack, that works really well. It's a lot harder to set up, and I don't, when you got a decent jack like this one, go ahead and use it. If you don't, then you'll have to muddle through. So you just stick the end in there and pop that thing out, the hubcap that is, and then you've got your, on this car there's 5. And so I usually don't try to do this by hand. I do have a breaker bar and a socket for when, I take the car to a shop and have the tires replaced, because, they put on the lug nuts with those pneumatic wrenches, and so it really tightens them down. They don't need to be that tight, but that's just the way they do it. So I just use my foot. And what you want to do is just loosen it up and get all 5 lug nuts loose. It really doesn't matter what order you do it in. I'll be right back.